Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and today's video is another episode of Throwback Thursday. Woohoo! Now, I started doing this series because I was super inspired by my dear friend, Jan Van, who has been doing Throwback Thursdays on her channel for quite some time. Of course, I will link her channel in my description box. Go check her out, subscribe, and show her a ton of love and support if you have not already. And of course, I have to give a huge love-filled shout out to Dawn, my dear friend and subscriber, who is my biggest TBT cheerleader. Now, what palette am I using in this episode today? I'm using the W7 My Atlantis palette, and I have never used this palette before. It's been in my collection for over a year at least, and my dear friend Alli, who lives in the UK, she sent this to me. Now, this, I believe, is duping the Naughty Nudes palette from Huda Beauty. But I said that one time, and a subscriber said, no, that's not what it's duping. It's duping a Natasha Denona palette. But so I don't know. I could be wrong. But this shade right here, that kind of beady, oily shade, I'm pretty sure is in the Naughty Nudes palette, the Huda Beauty one. And I have wanted to use this palette ever since Alli sent it to me, but kind of forgot that it was in my collection. So I was digging around in my shelf back there and I thought, oh my gosh, I've never used this. So obviously this is coming in today. Now, I will say I've swatched a couple of the shimmers. This one, I did swatch that. It's weird. I'm not going to put that on my eyelids today. Actually, I might put that on my lips today though, over the top of a darker lipstick. We'll see. But this shimmer, and that shimmer are very subtle. They're very light. They're pretty, but they're just not as boom pow as I would like for them to be. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be delving into those. I think I'm going to be focusing on like this shimmer, that maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I do want to have like a darker look today is what I'm thinking. So I want to use this here. Let me get my glasses on. Hold on a second. Get my glasses on so I can read you the shade names. This one is called Trident. I think I might use Speculate and Island and then Empire. I think those are the four mattes I'm going to use. And then for the shimmers, I'm not exactly sure yet, but I think I'm going to use Erupt, Play-Doh, and Myth. Maybe Immortal too. These two are nice. I don't know. These three just, I mean, they're beautiful. I'll probably use one of those in my inner corners because they're just really subtle. So yeah. Okay. So starting off by putting Island, right? Yeah. In my transition area. And of course I do have both brows done and my eyelid is primed in the Juvia's Place Prep Prime Eye Primer. Yeah. Oh, I don't have enough on the brush. Hold on. I have used a couple of W7 palettes in the past that I ended up decluttering, not because I didn't hate them. I just didn't really love the shimmer formula. I preferred the matte formula in the palettes, was great. But I don't know, the shimmers I was kind of like, yeah. And I think I gave them to my daughter, right? I think so. I may have decluttered those to a friend, but a different, well, my daughter's my friend too, but you know what I mean? Like not my daughter. I can't remember. I did have the Mercury Retrograde, right? Mercury Retrograde dupe from W7 that was originally done by Huda Beauty as well. And then I had an all matte dupe, or I don't know if it was a dupe, but an all matte palette from W7 that I gifted to my daughter because she was like, can I have that? I'm like, sure, you can have it. Sure, of course you can. I'm a sucker for her. A sucker for both my kids, really. And then what else did I have from W7? I can't remember. But I know I've had a couple of I had the Subculture dupe, the ABH Subculture dupe. I can't remember now what it was called, the W7 version, what it was called. It was okay. It just wasn't that exciting. So I gifted that to someone else, which I don't want to give people palettes that I didn't think worked well. It had nothing to do with whether it worked well or not. It's just, I don't know. I just wasn't getting a lot of use, and I don't like to keep stuff that I know I'm not going to use a bunch because someone else might want to use it more than me. And you know, I think a palette deserves the use, right? Yeah. So I do have a burn on my forehead right here for my curling iron. When I first did it, I felt it. I was like, yeah, because I am now curling my hair more often because my hair is fun to curl. Before it wasn't very fun, but now that my hair is colored, I really like it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do some fun stuff here. So I zapped my forehead, and at first I didn't even see it. And then the next morning, yesterday when I woke up, I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, oh yeah, I burnt my head with my curling iron. Who does that? I do. And then my husband and I went to my son's college graduation on Saturday, last Saturday, and we both just got sunburned all to hell. My husband's head was like bright red, and honestly, I think he had like possibly 2nd or 3rd degree burns, because it was pretty like fluidy. Like I think it was like blistered, honestly, and his eye was like all swollen, almost swollen shut. And we were only out there for like, I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours, I guess. And it was pretty overcast. It rained even during the ceremony a couple of times. Not a lot, but a little bit. But then the sun would definitely come out, and it was like, oh, it felt so good, because it was a little chilly. Like there was a breeze blowing that was kind of chilly. And I didn't even think about wearing sunscreen. I did have some sunscreen in my Maybelline BB cream that I had on my face, but I still got some color on my face, and my chest got fried. Right here got fried. And then the next day, the Sunday afterwards, we were both like sick from being so sunburned. Like I had a raging migraine. He had a headache. We both felt horrible. That is lovely. I think that's a beautiful shade. It's very pigmented. It looks nice. I do want to take the little edge off there. So I'm going to go into Empire and do that right now. So anyway, it was just kind of funny. Like, God, you know, I can remember getting sunburned as a kid, and it didn't affect me at all. But we were both just like, oh, feeling like crap. We didn't do much on Sunday other than sit and feel sorry for ourselves. But my son's graduation was just wonderful. It really was. It was a beautiful ceremony. They had this guy, his name is Steven Jackson, who he played football for the college when he was like in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And then he went on to play professional football for quite some time, and he holds some records, like I think some rushing records in the NFL, which is really cool. And he gave an amazing speech at the ceremony that was very touching and really awesome. But Braden and his girlfriend Ella both told me that where they were sitting, they couldn't hear anything. They couldn't hear the president of the university speaking, and they couldn't hear Steven Jackson's speech at all either. I was like, no. I'm like, I wonder why. And he said, I don't know. We couldn't hear. Like I could hear people around me talking. Not that tons of people were talking. He said, I could hear that just fine. But the way that the sound system was set up, they just couldn't really hear it. So that sucks. I was like, oh, that's crappy. Very crappy. So, but it was beautiful, really was. And there was like over 7,000 students that graduated. And that includes the doctorates and the master's programs, folks and stuff. But yeah, like 7,800 or close to that graduated. So pretty cool, pretty neat. They didn't announce everyone's names at the graduation. They just had the doctorate earners. They announced their names and they walked across the stage. Everyone else, they just announced their school and they all stood up and we cheered. And when Braden's school got announced, I was like, totally freaked out and screamed. And he found us too. You know, obviously all the people that were graduating were sitting in chairs on the football field. And Paul and I were kind of up on the 2nd level, kind of kitty corner to where Braden was sitting. We saw him come in on the big screen, or we probably never would have, known where he was. But we saw him come in, and then we just followed him until he sat down. And so then he called me. He's like, where are you? And I'm like, look to 2 o'clock and look up to the 2nd level. I'm waving like crazy. And he saw me. So every so often we'd catch eyes and I'd wave and he'd go, mm. So now I'm going to go into Island. No, I did already go into Island. That's not what I want to do. I'm going to go into Speculate and put that in my crease. And then afterwards, my husband and I took 2 separate cars because he was absolutely exhausted due to his work shift. Normally, like when he was at graduation, he'd be sound asleep. And so he had to kind of shift his sleep schedule around. He took Friday off of work in order to do that. So he was just exhausted. So he decided to go home and not join in the festivities. But I stayed in the town where the college is. And I went to a barbecue that Ella's parents put on. Braden's girlfriend's parents were doing. And it was the first time I'd ever met them, her family. So that was really cool to finally meet her family. And they're really neat people. So that was awesome. And then I hung out and had a little bit to eat. And then Braden was like, Mom, I think I'm going to go do some partying with my friends. Like, go get him, Tiger. So I drove home. And I think also being outside at the barbecue got me even more fried. It still actually is kind of sore, like right here, I can feel it. And my husband's head's like totally peeling now. God, horrible. We just don't go out in the sun enough. We really don't. And we talked about that on Sunday, that we really need to start doing stuff outside more often. But when Braden got out of the graduation, the stadium, and came to the park where the barbecue was, when he and I caught eyes, I just like, it was like in a movie. We just like ran to each other, and I'm sobbing, he's sobbing. I threw my arms around him and hugged him. So funny. Then we started cracking up about how goofy that would look to, so, you know, an outside spectator, like seeing that whole scene. Oh, it's too funny. And Ella got some great pictures of Braden and I together, so that was cool. Very cool. Okay, I think that's deepening up nicely. I am going to go back around with this brush and just kind of blend again, because it's getting a little harsh, of course. Okay, awesome. That all blended together really well. See, I really love the W7 mattes. They're awesome. So now let's deepen this baby up. I'm going to go into Trident, put that in my outer V. And also, I've been having issues with my phones filming earlier. I filmed my no makeup and chill video earlier, and I ended up having to film it twice. So this phone that I'm filming on right now is my newer phone, and then I have an old phone. And a few months ago, this phone just went crazy, and it stopped letting me film because it said that there was no more storage left. And I took everything off of it, and it still was saying there was no storage. And I'm like, what? So I was thinking, should I buy a camera? Should I not buy a camera? And my daughter said, well, don't you have your old iPhone? And I'm like, I do. And she said, why don't you just turn that back on and you can just use that to film with? And I'm like, oh yeah. She's like, do a factory reset of it, and then you should be able to use it. Let me hold the brush down here a little bit more. You should be able to use it just to film with. And I'm like, oh, that's ingenious. So I turned it back on, and yeah, everything worked fine. Great. But then it started acting the same way, like saying there was no storage, and like I have all of the apps like offloaded, you know, that I don't use on there because I don't use it for anything other than filming. And I was like, why is this happening again now with this phone? So then I updated it a couple of times when it asked me to update it, and then that seemed to fix the problem. Okay, great. And then this morning when I sat down to film the no makeup and chill video, I checked to see how much storage I had available on the older phone that's sitting right there. And it was great. I had like tons of open space. I'm like, awesome. So I filmed my no makeup and chill video, which was honestly way too long, and other stuff had been going on while I was filming. So it was kind of a good thing that ended up getting scrapped. But it would not allow me to pull it into my Dropbox. It kept saying there's not enough memory on your phone or not enough open space on your phone. Oops, I have a brush here. So yeah, ain't happening, sister. And I'm like, what in the hell? I was so irritated. Technology, that kind of stuff with technology just drives me bonkers. So I was like, what the hell am I going to do? You know, like I filmed this whole video and now it's for naught, you know? So anyway, I'm going to go back into Island. So I thought, I'm just going to factory reset it again. And I did, and now it's fine. Knock on wood, knock on wood. We'll see. It's just really irritating when stuff doesn't work. And honestly, I probably should just get myself a freaking camera. You know, I should. But I see how much those cost, and I'm like, I just don't want to spend that kind of money on a camera. I know that there are cheaper cameras too. And my really amazing subscriber and friend, Erin, she has given me she sent me a bunch of really awesome camera suggestions, and, you know, all different price ranges. And I really appreciated that. It's just having to learn a new system, a camera, you know, technology just flies right over my head out the door. I'm just like, huh? So that also is a little daunting for me to have to learn that, you know, another technological thing for my channel. So if I can keep milking these phones to film with, then that's what I'm going to keep doing, man. That's what I'm going to keep doing. So I'm just going to take this, nothing additional on it, just blend out the outer edge here. And then I should be good to get into the shimmers. Okay, I like how this looks. So now let's get into the shimmers. I'm going to put Erupt and I think I'm just going to use these two. Or actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put Erupt and Myth, and then I think I will try either this one or this one towards the front part of the lid. Let's see. Let's just see. Maybe it swatched poorly, but it'll apply. No, it didn't swatch poorly. It just kind of, but maybe it'll look better on my lids. We'll see. Going into the darker shimmer called Erupt. Ooh, nice. That coated the brush quite nicely. Do you guys have this palette or the original palette that it's duping, the Huda Beauty Naughty Nudes? Let me know about that in the comment section. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, I love the depth of this. This is really nice. It's that dark, kind of like grape purple, but it does have some like, yeah, well, it looks pretty metallic, like metallic purple. Maybe a little bit of blue in it too. That's really pretty. I love that. Yes. I actually thought about just putting just this one shimmer right here across my lid and calling it a day and having a darker look. But then I thought, well, it's kind of nice to see what other shadows do in the palette too, not just one shimmer. So that's why I am using a couple of them today. I'm just glad I'm finally using this palette because it's stupid for it to just sit there and not get any love. You know, just dumb. I've mentioned this so many times, but that's one of the main reasons why I love this series. It's because I get use out of my older palettes. Okay, that's awesome. So now let's go into Myth, putting that towards the middle part of the lid. Oh, I don't know if you guys watched my 2 looks video with the Ladybug Glow Quad, my most recent one, because I've done 2 of those videos. But I mentioned how I called the police for the woman at the store that guy was harassing, and the police did show up. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, they did show up. And he was still there out in the parking lot. Well, okay, let me back up. So, and this is kind of a weird consistency though, honestly. It's pretty, but it's just kind of a strange, that's okay. Yeah, ooh, geez. It's kind of like flaky, but not necessarily flaky in the best way possible, you know? But I just gotta smush these little chunks down. I think it'll be fine. If not, oh yeah, well, here, let me use my finger. It's just looking a little strange. It's kind of like this, I don't know, clumpy formula almost. I feel like, but maybe not. I think I can continue to mess with it and it'll be fine. It is really pretty. It's just the consistency of it's kind of strange. Let me get these chunks off my face. And I'm gonna need a wipe for that. Anyway, so she ended up calling her husband, and her husband came down to the store and hung out with her. And the guy did come back into the store, and her husband said, you know, knock it off, get out of here, or we're calling the cops. And the next thing they knew, the cops were there. And when the cops, though, arrived, he was not in the store. He was out walking around the parking lot yelling. So the police have already dealt with him before, apparently. I'm going to go back into Erupt with my finger. They've dealt with him before, so they were familiar with who he was. And they basically just said, you're banned from here. Don't come back. You're not welcome here ever. And apparently he apologized to the police and said that he didn't mean to scare her and that he didn't mean to be a nuisance. And they're like, well, you kind of are though, so leave her alone, you know? Like, she has the right to work here and not have to have her husband come down and protect her. Like, leave her alone, man. Go, get out of here. You're not going to get what you want. You can't use a pizza gift card to purchase a vape cartridge. So, you know, hit the bricks, buddy. And he did. Okay. Yeah, I do like it. The pink shimmer actually looks really nice. I was able to manipulate it enough where it looks nice. So now, this is a really light pink, and this is like kind of a purpley pink. Let's go to this one. This one is called, hold on. I don't know what it's called. Utopia. Okay. And I do feel like when I swatched them, I kind of hard panned them, which I didn't mean to do. But, you know, whatever. Okay. This is kind of a flaky, chunky formula too. All right, spray that a little bit and let's see what happens with this shade here. Ooh, oh yeah, that's really nice. And you know what I might do? You know what I'm gonna do? Rather than just putting it right there, I'm gonna cover that whole pink part with this. Ooh, yeah. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I think that looks really nice. Not that the pink shade didn't end up looking nice, it did. But I just think this would look cooler with that darker purple. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Woo woo, I love it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Fun. Just adds a little bit more dimension to the look, I would say. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. See? Sometimes you think a shade's gonna work really well and it doesn't, and then other times you think it's not gonna work really well and it does. Wow. Yeah, this is awesome. Dig the Utopia shade a lot. And I think it looks cool combined with the pink shimmer. Yeah, I really think that jazzed it up quite a bit. Don't you think? I like it. Okay, sweet, cool. Yeah, I did not have high hopes for this Utopia shade at all. I just thought, it didn't swatch for that great, but on the lid, man, pretty. That's, you know, that's a good example of the fact that swatches don't always tell the whole story. You know, I've seen people swatch stuff and they're like, oh, this swatch so good, and then I've seen them use it and I'm like, and vice versa too. So that's always good, I think, to see that a swatch is not always the storyteller. There's more to the story than a swatch. I guess it's maybe not as dark as what I had said. I'm gonna do a really dark look, I said at the beginning. Did I? No, not really. There is some depth here though, I would say, sure. But, okay. Yeah, those two shimmer, yes, that looks so pretty. I love that. And then I'm just gonna go back in with this brush into Trident. And just kind of, something else I'm doing ASAP is vacuuming the ever-loving you-know-what out of this bedroom, because when I did my Stitch Fix video, holy crap, I had so much cat hair flying around in here, it was embarrassing. I was like, geez, because Lulu is sleeping right down on the bed, my little Bitsy Lou. She's sleeping in here. I can't kick her out of here. I can't not let her sleep in here. But cats shed, apparently, like real bad. So I just need to really vacuum the fire out of this room. I think that's it. I'm gonna go clean this up, do my other eye, the rest of my face, and I'll come back. So this is my finished look, and I really like how it turned out. I'm pleasantly surprised by the eyeshadow palette. After I swatched a couple of the shimmer shades before I sat down to film, I was like, I don't know that I'm gonna like this palette, but I really like the mattes, and the shimmers I chose, I actually ended up really liking. So of course I'll show you the palette again, but let me show you just a few things I threw on my face for my finished look. On my lips, I used an LA Girl Metal Liquid Lipstick in the shade Flashy. My dear friend Julia sent this to me, and I just thought the shade would work really well with my eye look today, and I just love this lippy. It's not heavy or weird on my lips. You know, sometimes metallic type liquid lipsticks can feel kind of heavy, and this one doesn't feel like that at all, and I love the shade. And I did grab a little bit of this beady oily shade and put that on top of the lippy, and you really can't tell. I mean, kind of, there's a little bit of like a pink and maybe like a periwinkle blue reflect on my lips, but can't really see it that well. But I just thought I'd give this shade a try. There's no way in the world that would work on my eyelids. It's way too oily, way too greasy, no way. And then for my upper lid liner, I pulled out the Black Like My Soul fell tip liner from Huda Beauty. I wasn't sure that this even had enough product to use again, but I thought, let's try it again. And it did have enough product, but it's gotten kind of like runny. And when I put it, how I start applying my eyeliners, I start in this corner and I work out towards the outer part of the lid. And it kind of started to bleed and like go into my lower, like down here into my tear duct area. And then it kind of blew up onto my lid. So I kind of made a mess. And I was gonna switch it out and use a different eyeliner for this side. And I thought, no, just use it, it's okay. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes eyeliner doesn't perform the way you want it to. But I really do love this eyeliner. I love it to pieces. It's just probably should not be used again. I just kind of tried to futz around a little bit with the shimmer and cover that kind of splotch up. I don't know that I did, but whatever. And then for my mascara, I use the Tarte Gifted mascara. I love this. This is such a great mascara. And then for my blush, I used my Moira Ombre blush again. Just thought that would be really fun to pull out and use with this eye look today. Love it. And then also, I did not use a liquid foundation today. I used this right here. This is the Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Powder Foundation. Up to 16 hours, and this is in the shade, I don't know, 220, I guess. And I do use this on occasion when I'm in a hurry and I just don't want to apply a liquid foundation, and I think it works really well, and I've panned it. It's a little on the yellowy side for my skin tone, you know, but I do use this quite often when I'm in a hurry and just don't really want to put a liquid foundation on. It's got really nice coverage, really does. Is that all I wanted to show? Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about the W7 My Atlantis palette that I used today for my Throwback Thursday. I love the mattes. The mattes are super pigmented and blendable and really lovely, and they worked really well together. I really didn't struggle with blending them together at all. And sometimes I do, but this, no, didn't at all. And I did use a combination of Trident and Island. Yeah, Trident, geez, and Island on my lower lash line. Just kind of put them together and like tried to smoke them out a little bit. I use this shade right here, and this is called, hold on, Lost. I use this shade called Lost in my inner corners. I thought about popping that a little bit under my brows too, but then I decided, nah, I don't do that. The only shade I really struggled with was this shade right here. It's okay. It is a very pretty shade. It's just kind of a strange, kind of clumpy consistency. But once I got it smushed out over my lids, I thought it looked fine. But I did think topping it with this shade, Utopia, was a good decision, you know, because it just wasn't the best shimmer shade I've ever used in my life. But this really helped salvage the look, I felt. And then I really like this shade right here called Erupt, this darker shimmer. That's really pretty and very metallic looking, really nice formulation. So yes, I was very pleasantly surprised with this palette. I wasn't sure what to think because, like I mentioned, I've had not bad experiences with other W7 palettes. They just weren't as exciting as I was hoping they would be. And this worked really well. So hooray, it's a winner. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.